Welcome to Down Home Horror, where we keep the hall lights on for you. I'm Amber.
I'm Alex.
And speaking of Down Home Horror, which is where we are, crazy, I like your shirt, Alex.
Oh, this thing? This little
Yeah.
thing that I just had laying around? Why, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I got a story about it. You want my story?
Oh, absolutely. I love stories.
Let me tell you my tale. So, I have wonderful coworkers, and not even just coworkers. I have wonderful friends. It's just that they still happen to be the same category, right? Venn diagram. It's a circle. But it was like Monday, Tuesday, some. It was early in the week, and I get a call from my supervisor, and he's like, "Alex, I need you to come into my office." And I went, "Oh my god, of course!" And I close the phone. I put it down, and I'm like, "Okay." Doing the anxious person thing of what did I
Right.
do wrong? Yada yada yada. I go into the office, and there are my two friends, Figgy and Allison. And hey, that's you guys. And
Hi.
I come in and I'm a little surprised because the tone would indicate that like someone else should be in the room. And then it hits. Allison has this like draped kind of like over her body, and she's like, "Oh, hello." And I look over at Figgy, and he has the mug that has Down Home Horror on it.
Oh
And I
my
take a
God.
second look, and so does Allison. They also have the mug. And I went, "Oh my gosh, that's wonderful." There's a few more people involved at this point, but this is I'm painting a picture, right? I sit down and I will start crying. It was kept a secret from me. They were our very first people who bought stuff, and so I just was floored at the support. They've been watching us for a minute now, and once as the second I said, "Hey, there's merch," and the second they found the link, they jumped in on it. Right. So big ups to Allison for planning and doing the stuff,
I love that.
and right, and just it was a very cool, nice surprise. And
Fuck
her
yeah,
thing was
Allison.
right. Her thing was, "Hey, I knew you wouldn't buy one for yourself, so here you go." And all I can say is that the quality is wonderful. She also ended up buying the sweater. So if you go to her link, you'll see it's like a brown sweater, although it comes in different colors with her logo. And so I even got to hold the sweater, and it's pretty. The logo comes out great, even on the mugs. It's not pixelated or anything. So it's got our seal of approval on it, 110%. I also share the story in the way that Allison goes above and beyond for everybody that she ever meets. And currently, her family's going through some hardships at this time. So I just wanted to give a nice little shout out because she's more than a fan. She's more than a coworker. She's a friend. And just we appreciate the ever living heck out of her for all the kindness that she does for everyone in her life. So
Yes.
get yourself an Allison.
Yes.
And anyways, that's all I have about this cool story and these cool people in my lives. Thank you guys. I'm sorry, I didn't give you a good segue, but what are we doing here today?
Well, today is Sunday, and you know what
You're right.
Sundays mean?
Shuddering?
Yes, so we are shuttering on Sundays. It is Shudder Sunday. We are back with another episode of that. If you are not familiar with our Shudder Sunday series, we pick Shudder exclusive or original movies and we talk about them. Typically, it's in short form. However, bear with us for the next few weeks, maybe, depending on how these writer strikes that you've probably heard of by now, if not through us, then through media and such. While those go on, we may be kind of dipping our toes into the water of spoilers, whereas usually we keep these completely spoiler free. If you don't remember our last episode or have not seen our last episode yet, I mentioned that I didn't want to be a cliche this week and I wanted to pick something that would be kind of out of my comfort zone. So I picked Deadstream. As told by the Shudder synopsis, Deadstream follows a disgraced internet personality who tries to win back his followers by live streaming himself at an abandoned haunted house. When he accidentally unleashes a vengeful spirit, his comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. First things first.
Yes.
This vaguely still kind of falls into an Amber pick cliche in the sense that it's I don't want to say it's funny because I don't think it's funny, but it's a comedy. It's a
They listed as a comedy, right?
Yes, it's absolutely a comedy, which is what, listen, I was trying so hard to avoid anything that was slasher, anything that was comedy. I just wanted to be different. And I wanted something serious and scary and not super bloody. But here we are.
Uh,
I picked Deadstream. Not super bloody. It's got some kind of grotesque
yeah.
images, but not like super like slashery, gory, bloody. But
Sure.
it is kind of a comedy. And I use that term loosely simply
Yeah.
because it's not my kind of comedy. Not a bad movie, but not my kind of comedy. But I think that really kind of depends on like how you take the personality of the main character. I had to sit with this one. Initial reaction, I was like, no, like, I don't like this. But the longer I sat on it, the longer I thought about it, I was like, no, okay, I see what they're doing and I appreciate that aspect of it. And I don't take it as seriously now as I did coming off of first watching it. Because I don't know, like, and I think I took it just a little bit too seriously because I wasn't fully expecting it to be comedic in any way, or at least as comedic as it was. So, again, my expectations were a little bit skewed. But regardless of that, I hate it. I didn't hate it. What did you think about
Okay.
it?
Yeah, so I remember seeing that it was listed as a comedy, and I remember looking at the trailer and thinking like, "Man, how's this gonna be a comedy?" And I was kind of waiting for it to become a comedy. I am also with you where I fail to see it. However, my asterisk on this, what I did find funny was the main character, Sean, for me is so clearly based off the YouTube personality Garrett Watts. Garrett Watts, who, if you haven't found on YouTube, I suggest it. Maybe Amber will even find us a clip of him being Garrett Watts.
There are sounds coming from that room. Not the wall next door, not outside. That room. Oh my god.
He has done a few different various haunted house, haunted salon things. He talks really fast. He jumps topics a lot. And it's in particular when in Deadstream, when Sean's talking to the live chat and how he like looks reads the question and then looks at the camera to talk to him. Those are the moments that I feel most like, oh, that feels like something Garrett would say. I have no proof of this. It just feels like that's the most obvious tie-in.
Right.
But yeah, no, I had a real hard time with the comedy. Second point I have in the same way that I can't wait to hear you debate me on. It reminded me a little bit of Evil Dead, the original. In the sense of like, is it a comedy? Is it not? A lot of the ghost spooky stuff reminded me of Deadites.
I can see that.
And right, like not one for one, but there was a point, particularly towards the end, I'm like, is it funny because it's Deadites? Like I had some of that. But again, I don't think it was well done. I don't think it was even the same league as
Right.
Evil Dead. Just some links to it. Inspiration, maybe.
One of the first reviews that I saw of this
Mhm.
movie was actually on Letterboxd, where somebody said The Evil Dead meets a YouTube stream. And again,
Yeah.
coming out of this movie, I didn't like it. There wasn't really a whole lot about it that I actually enjoyed. I found it annoying and obnoxious.
Mhm.
Um, so when I saw that comment, I went into full blown like Big Bear defense mode. I was like,
Sure.
"Excuse me?" But I no, like I get it. I understand it. It has some of the same personality that Evil
Mhm.
Dead does.
Like it's diet Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Enough to be noticed, but not enough to be clearly ripped, I think.
right.
I had to stop and I was multitasking admittedly while I was watching this, so maybe it wasn't the perfect viewing experience. Come at me. I like to multitask when I watch stuff. However, I don't think that would have fixed anything as far as my viewing experience. It was pretty slow for the most
Hmm.
part. I think it was interesting to try to give him like a morality character growth thing that fit for the most part, but also didn't. It reminds me of an exclusive Hulu movie that came out about COVID and mask wearing that was also a streamer. And I'm just at this point, I'm
Mm,
not sure how you feel about streamer horror. I know it's adjacent to influencer horror, which I have already have said in our very first Shudder Sunday. Like it's not really my thing.
right.
But then we get into streamer horror, which is something that you and I both do, and it's a little bit more closer to home. How do you feel about it, like as a format, as a genre?
I don't know. I feel like the concept in general, I feel like has a lot of potential to be something entertaining. Like they use the same formula for them every single time. You have these like super big personality, like eccentric humans that do the live stream thing, or even just the YouTube thing in general, whether it be live stream or not, and they all act the exact same way. The story that's trying to be told is pretty much all the same. I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea either. There's something sometimes when it comes to influencer horror that I can kind of get behind, but I'm very picky about that as well. But I've never really had a streamer horror that I've enjoyed. Those personalities kind of create like a disconnect with me. I'm not a huge fan of them, so maybe Deadstream wasn't the pick that I was looking for. But again, it's not a terrible movie.
I concur in the sense of like, do I like streamer horror? The bigger the personality, the less I feel like the writers have watched a lot of streamers or know a lot of streamers. It feels like they're definitely a third party that's like, here's this phenomenon that I'm vaguely aware of
Right.
and know enough to write about, but also maybe not the best person to write the story. Anything that ends up being herder, technology bad, stop being so vain, stop being so full of yourself. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But how many of us
Don't tell me what to
streamers are
do.
just like neurotic little messes and suffer from imposter syndrome? Like, I want to hear that side of the story of, like, again, maybe it's like a stalker, right? It's like, I'm going to reveal everything about you. And it's just like how unspectacular they are, right? Not like a bad person,
Right.
just like taking pictures of their dirty kitchen.
Right.
Right? or just like taking the shine off the big personality and seeing them live having to like try to come down from that or whatever. I don't know.
That reminds me of a movie on Netflix that I cannot say the name of. But it's really fucking good. It's about a girl who is a cam
Okay, I know.
girl.
It's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list. Wink wink.
And it's got a weird paranormal aspect to it, but everything about that movie to me is perfect. I absolutely love that movie. I think that it captures the essence of being an online personality really well, in the sense that this is somebody who, when they're in front of the camera, they're super confident, but not arrogantly confident. They're super friendly, super social, obviously, but behind the camera, they have really bad like anxiety, like she's biting her nails all the time.
The thing I want. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. To me, that type of movie is a really good representation, even though that's not the whole point, but it's still a really good representation of the reality of the masses when it comes to content creation, rather than the few and far between people, you know. And for all I know, those few and far between people that I'm saying are that could very well be like you and me, basically. But I think that there's a different story that we can start telling about content creators, basically, if you want to include those in horror films and use those as like a thematic element. I think that there are so many different stories that could be told.
Really like seeing chat and pop up like during the stream, right? I think that's a really nice touch, and I haven't ever really seen a movie do that super poorly, because it's like a little side thing. If you end up watching that, it's like a whole reason to watch a movie twice.
Him
But no,
setting
I
up the
agree.
cameras too. I don't know what it is about that, but I really liked visually seeing him do that. It's a found footage film, so just having that aspect of seeing him actually set up everything that we're going to now be viewing this entire movie from was a really cool touch, I think.
Up until when stuff starts popping off, right? And you realize, like, oh, this isn't your normal stream happening. There were moments when, oh, snap, that's right. This is a movie I'm watching right now. This
Right.
isn't YouTube. This isn't something. It is well done enough in that first third of the movie, right? That I went, oh yeah, this seems good. It's just everything kind of afterwards that lukewarm on. Again, like you said, it's not terrible,
Right.
but I definitely wasn't as impressed. And this was a movie I was hopeful for. I was really excited about this. And so I'm like, I feel like I've seen a lot of movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
The plot twist at the end was good.
Yeah.
Like that was something I did not anticipate, and maybe I should have. But like on the whole, just kind of took a minute to get there. And
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't recommend this to many people.
Yeah. I don't think I would, but and I will do this dramatic segue every single
Sure,
time.
sure.
I mentioned earlier that there was a lot of like kind of grotesque imagery throughout
Mhm.
this. Really damn good special effects. Like
Damn
again,
good special
like
effects.
we said in Brooklyn 45, they were fun. Like there was
Mhm.
something, and I think that the special effects, like you were saying with like Deadites and stuff, is what kind of like makes that tie. Um, but they were really, really good special effects. They were just so much fun. I had a lot of fun just looking at all of the detail and like nasty
Mhm.
shit that went into making
Yeah.
those things look the way
Oh
that they
god,
did.
even the tub itself, just
Yeah.
tub, gross, awful. Ugh. I, you're right. There was a lot of love and care that went into it. And that's like what makes me almost a little bit more bummed that I didn't like it, right? Because it clearly wasn't just something as a cash grab.
Right.
It just wasn't my favorite.
There was a movie on Tubi also that was very similar to this. And I
Mhm.
don't remember what it's called, but it was the same concept. It was like a group of YouTubers go to a haunted house or a haunted hotel or something,
Mhm.
and fuck shit starts happening. And it's just like, and the main guy is like by far one of the most obnoxious people I've ever seen portrayed in a movie. And that's saying a lot, I feel.
Shame.
And his like friends are trying to be like the voice of reason, and he's just like, no money, YouTube. And and I just and it's just, I don't know,
No.
like I said, same shit over and over again. And I reiterate the idea that I feel like there are better stories to portray when it comes to content creation in
At
any
least
aspect. Horror.
at least different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this aspect, which fine, good, yes, great. But I feel like it's been explored. I have yet to see anything that really reinvigorates it or adds anything to it. Just it kind of is what it is. Which should be said, not every movie has to reinvent the
No.
wheel,
Yeah.
right? And not every genre movie needs to define itself within the genre. Sometimes
Right.
you can just enjoy a streamer horror and know you're gonna get streamer horror, and that's fine, grand and dandy. You're looking for your elements and you just want to watch that, and that's fine. If you like streamer horror, if you like that, you're gonna like this just fine. There's just
Mm-hmm.
nothing that stands out about
Yeah. I feel like of all of the like found footage live stream type
it. Mhm.
horrors, if I'm
Yeah,
in like a shitty ass mood or something, this might be one of the ones that I would put on if I was in the mood to watch something like that that isn't as heavy-handed as something like the movie that I was talking about earlier. Not heavy-handed, but not like heavy thematically, I think. Because
sure.
I don't feel like this is. I feel like this is satirical in a way that it's not trying too hard to be something that's like you said, like technology bad, content creator
Mhm.
bad, like stuff like that. I think that it's literally just something meant to poke fun at the YouTube personality, and I think that that's okay. I think that, again, in a shitty mood, if I'm in the mood to watch something like this might be the one out of all of the other ones that I would sit down and watch, because it's light, other than being kind of disgusting at times. It's light,
Sure.
you know?
Light. It's
So
our
I'll give
version
it,
of light.
yeah, exactly. Like I'll give it that, I think.
For me, it gives off big sci-fi Tuesday at 6 o'clock during October. Like they wouldn't really show it any other time of year besides their 31 days of
Right?
Halloween, right? Like
I
and
like
like
that.
they're looking for something to fill a time slot where not a lot of people are gonna watch it. But if you're really lucky, that's how you find a movie that you
Yep.
love, right? This it has a lot of that energy to it. That you're gonna mention, oh my god, my favorite movie is Deadstream, and people will be like, what? I hate to say it, I really had like 5 notes for this movie.
Yeah, I didn't have
So and I think it's almost 2 hours long. I don't really have much else to say about
that.
it.
Reminds me, I feel
Mhm.
like it was too long. I feel like it could have been a lot shorter, and it might have been more bearable to consume. Not a lot
There's
shorter, but
I don't know. I'm learning more and more as we continue to watch more horror. More importantly, study horror. The 1 hour, 29 minute, 30 seconds is a sweet spot for horror. You tell
yeah.
your story, it's just enough time to build up, have a resolution, carry on. That I'm really liking. I'm finding movies that go past that, particularly closer to 2 hours. Man, could you not cut out stuff?
Right?
Is there anything that you would like to kind of finish talking out about? Or did we cover all your stuff as well?
Yeah, no, all of my stuff was covered.
Perfect. Well, in that case, can I talk about my pick for next week?
Duh.
Duh. Hello. Obviously. So my pick, right? We alternate. We alternate between her pick, my pick, my pick, and then my pick this upcoming week is called Hunted, and I saw a teaser for it that said it's a radical Red Riding Hood retelling, which has me really excited because I love fairy tales. I like when they're dark and fucked up. So this is bound to be good. I have high hopes for it. But the long description, let me give that out to you. What started as a flirtatious encounter at a bar turns into a life or death struggle as Eve becomes the unknowing target of a misogynistic plot against her. Forced to flee as two men pursue her through the forest, she's pushed to her extremes while fighting to survive in the wilderness. But survival isn't enough for Eve. She will have revenge. So yeah, I'm super curious. It's only apparently it's 4 stars, or skulls on Shudder. I thought it was 3. But I'm excited. Should be interesting at the very least. It doesn't fall into our ghosts. It doesn't fall into our slashers.
We're stepping
But
out. We're
stepping
stepping out
out.
of our boxes, y'all.
I still think you're gonna. I picked it in part because there is that kind of man chase, little bit slashery vibe to it. So hopefully, it kind of checks both of our boxes.
We'll see.
But so that's what we got. We got Hunted coming out, and then besides that, hey, you heard my story at the beginning about the shirt, the merch. We got a whole link for it. Check it out. We did our best to make sure that prices were kept affordable, so that way we're not making a huge profit off of it. But we want to make sure that you can go on and represent your favorite horror podcast in your day-to-day life. We got shirts, we got mugs, we got stickers, we got a sweater. We got some other stuff in there too. So be sure to swing on by, check it out. And you too can have a sick shirt like this. Aren't you jealous? I know.
I am.
I would be too. Look at that. Hey, Amber, do you want to tell us about the Discord?
We have a Discord now. If you're unfamiliar with Discord, it's basically just a big community gathering where all of you guys can hang out with us and vice versa, obviously. We want to get to know more about you. And if you want to get to know more about us, that's the place to do it. We'll have game nights. We'll have movie nights. Eventually, we'll have a book club as well, which is super exciting because I love books. But overall, it's just a place for us to all hang out and talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about within Discord TOS, of course. But yeah, link will be in the description if you guys are interested in joining that. It's free, obviously. And you get to pick a fancy little role, whatever you want,
Sure.
whatever horror trope you want to be. We got it. You can pick it. It's great.
Choose your own adventure, horror style.
Yeah, exactly. I would kill for that. God, Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure books were my shit when I was a kid, so I love that. But yeah, link in description.
Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, and hey, even if like a little comment. We love praise, but beyond that, if you have any thoughts on this movie, if you've seen Deadstream, if you have thoughts on streamer horror in general, if you just want to say hi, put a little comment down below. We're really good, and by we, I should say Amber's really good at replying to everything, so it's a little extra incentive there. And share it with your friends and stuff, because the more people that learn about us, the cooler we feel, frankly. I think
True.
that's a good sales pitch. Dude, tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm good. That's all. Just tell me I'm good.
Give me compliments.
This is the best pitch ever, I'm sure. In the meanwhile, when we're not sneaking through haunted houses and streaming our possession, basically, where can we find you, Amber?
Well, you can find me streaming live on Twitch 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. West Coast time. I forget what that's called all the time. Pacific time? Pacific time, where I stream horror games. Duh. But you can find me on Twitch at Amber Blitz. And yeah, that's about it. That's about all that I'm doing these days.
As we are learning that social media is burning to the ground, we are diversifying. But you can pretty much find, at least me, anywhere at Roll for Alex. right now, what you'd be finding on my social medias is me promoting stuff. So let me just cut the middleman out and let you know right now. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, I am with the Games Tavern playing a D&D actual play podcast called Whiskey, Magic, and Destruction. And then on Sundays, I'm with the Exquisite Corpse Presents on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time playing Renaissance du Rain, which is a King Arthur alternative universe using the Thirsty Sword Lesbian rule system. It's a lot of fun, and they're both a really good time. So if you want to come hang out and watch me play pretend, those are the places to do it. But until next time, be sure to check under your bed for monsters because I can't.
And I won't. Bye.
Bye.